Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Leadership Void podcast. Enrique here with my counterpart, Vince Loran, and we're so excited to approach this day with the question number 8. And Vince, I'm going to let you take that, but I'm so excited about covering this because it's really where the rubber meets the road. So go ahead, introduce it.
Absolutely. And speaking of question 8, it has a lot to do with the intrinsic, what you're doing yourself to enhance your potential as a leader. And the question we posed out there was, what are you doing to ensure you continue to grow and develop as a leader? And 5 different subjects came to the top, or topics. And it really started out with the first one that resonated with folks was reading and training. And I like to default to Stephen Covey here because he shared with the world the 7 habits of highly effective people. And tip number 7 is sharpen your saw, which basically he also said it means preserving and enhancing the greatest asset you have, you. So Stephen Covey, thank you for that. And yes, reading and writing. And it is twofold, folks, because if you sharpen your saw, guess what you're going to do? You're going to really radiate that power, that energy. You're going to retain your people because statistics state that 75% of employees voluntarily leave their job or quit their job because of their bosses. So again, you want to have effective leaders and effective people, you have to be right on point with all your skills. So invest in leadership training is highly important to keep that recruitment cost down. What other thing you do externally is you also increase in productivity. You have the right mix because you have the emotional intelligence to deal with the diverse group of people that are in your team. So keeping that success will provide and promote productivity to another level. And also what you're doing is you're nurturing future leaders. You're enhancing the next group that's going to rise to the top once you leave that seat and move to another direction. So you're nurturing those future leaders. Another last thing is employee engagement. You're increasing that as well. You're providing folks the opportunity. And when you talk about engagement, one thing that training and reading will do for you is that you will work best on providing feedback and receiving feedback because that's very important. The difference in great and good leaders or good and great leaders is that feedback, not just the annual one, but you periodically do it. It helps that engagement of your employees because they'll know which direction, which way they need to pivot. Training and reading serves you to sharpen your saw. Here, you can do is implement an effective leadership style because it's not just one way of doing things. You have to have a broad umbrella of different facets of leadership. Servant leadership, sometimes authoritative, directive, engaging. So increases your style, be more effective. Better at making decisions. It will help you understand what you're doing, how to make that return of investment. As I mentioned early on, increases your emotional intelligence, also your self-confidence, because what? It challenges you. Training and reading challenges you. Learning to maximize your team productivity. It helps reduce stress. It says by reading 6 minutes, stress is reduced by 68%. That's huge, folks. And we all know how stress can be impacted in our decision-making and our leadership ways. So, folks, work on that because we don't want to lose 74% of our workforce because we're terrible bosses. Continue to work on your reading and your training, folks.
Definitely. You just brought up a point on how that contributes to you personally, not only in the education piece, but in the stress level piece. My family, during this, crises or time, have injected into our daily schedule at least 20 minutes of reading. And every day, everybody finds their book and we all read at the same time, the different books, but we all read at the same time so that we can provide each other an environment where we can easily read and retain what we're reading. But it's crucial. It actually helps you decompress, let go of some things that have been maybe on your mind, and gives you that breathing room that you need to clearly think about other things that are coming down the road. And on top of that, you educate yourself. I'm a big proponent for reading and training. Now, my family, if they hear me say that, they'll say, "What, you reading?" I would not read books. I'm a big audio book guy. But it was because of the fact that we would be traveling. You travel to work, you throw the audio book in the, and you listen to it as you go and come back from work. But now that I've been home, I'm really enjoying sitting down and reading an actual book, right? So it's amazing what it does. Yeah, Brene Brown. She is a wonderful not only speaker but author and producer of books. So yeah, find a good book and really start to feed yourself. Right? We're always feeding somebody else. We're always looking out for somebody else. Well, guess what? You're a well, and once your well runs dry, what are you going to do? That's usually when problems start. So feed yourself so that you can feed others.
Absolutely. Now, sharing this, the Brene Brown Dare to Lead book is what I'm currently reading. So, to his point, is enhancing your own feeding yourself. But one thing Enrique mentioned was that time that they block off as a family to do that. He also serves as a mentor and a coach in that aspect. And that's the second point that folks pointed out, is having that mentor coach to enhance what you're reading and what you're training on, because it's valuable not only as a leader, but every steps of your life. You should go ahead and have a mentor and a coach, because they go hand in hand with training. It makes you as a leader become more valuable in the organization by developing and enhancing your skills, not only professional, but also personally. What helps with the coach and mentor? It seeks to improve you to improve in your specific areas that you're looking to improve on. They also are out there to hold you accountable to deliver the areas you need strengthening. Um, you're not working alone. They will hold you accountable in a non-threatening, non-judgmental way, and it's confidential. So personally have witnessed leaders having aha moments, refocus and pivoted to a different direction to be a better versions of themselves. So, like anything else, do your homework, seek out coaches that are impactful and that will be a good match for you, or mentor, because not all of them are created equal.
Yeah, absolutely. You and I both, all right, with coach mentors, we do this for a living, and we have seen the fruit of that labor. We've seen it in people, and one of the most enjoyable times in our lives, in the profession that we're in, is seeing those pivots and then seeing the fruit of them achieving more, because they actually enacted what we had spoken about. Now, most people don't understand that coach, that mentor relationship, or what it actually does for you. There's a verse that I always like and I always cling to, which is a rope of 2 or 3 strands is stronger. You know, you can be the best you can be in a profession. You could be the top, but guess what? How much stronger would you be as a rope, as an anchor, if you had 2 to 3 strings wrapped around you, right? It's not easy to break. So what a coach and what a mentor provides is an outside perspective, blind sides, right? Things that you cannot see because you're in the mix. Those individuals can come and support you We're there for support. We're not there to direct. We're not there to tell you what to do. We're there to bring forth maybe a clearer view, a wider angle view, so that you can progress smartly. Something that you can, a decision you can make with more information, with different perspectives. And it's amazing what that does for careers, for professions, even life. I'm a mentor through Veterati. It's a online mentorship platform for veterans. And I can't tell you how many times I would suggest something and I would get, I never thought of that. That's what that is. That's why mentors are there. That's why coaches are there. We can't think of everything. And so I can't, not just because we're in that profession, but I can't encourage you enough to get yourself a mentor, get yourself a coach, even if you have to pay for it, because it just helps you tremendously. So yeah, I'm all for this specific thing that came out, in the interview questions. Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you, Enrique. I mean, and they are in the driver's seat. We're just sitting in the back seat. Tell them, hey, turn left.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't turn right. But if they do, what did you learn by turning right? So they
Exactly.
hopefully will learn again and not only see the wide angle, also, maybe they just looking at the 5,000-foot marker, and we take them to the 30,000 feet to look at the bigger scope of things too. So it does enhances their capabilities to the next level.
Well,
And
it's just amazing how one thing leads to another. Now, you and I, we're in this profession, but it, I'm sure that somehow we got involved in something voluntarily that kind of threw the light bulb out there. And so, you have mentioned the points, right? And I'm going to let you run with this one right here, but it's so important, this specific point that we were about to bring up, because I have, and in the military, we live a life of service. That's
mhm.
what we do. We serve, and sometimes you don't know how to shut that off. But that's good because the community needs us, doesn't
No, yeah, we need the community.
it?
So it's a two-way street, and that's what I'm greatly appreciative folks brought this up, because involved in the community slash helping was the next area of focus here. Now everyone should be involved in the community in some way, shape, or form by offering either your time, your talents, or your treasure. So, but you know what? It's important because for first and foremost, it's our community, which we are a part of. It's our social responsibility to be involved. And as you're a corporate leader, your social responsibility as well. So it is a two-way street, having the opportunity to interact with circles outside your own profession. So that's a plus in that arena. Um, it's a feel good opportunity, for you to help others. It should warm your heart, and it's great to bring people together. It brings people together from all walks of life. So what best way? One thing that I've seen done, and I thought it was a great example, is that I've seen leaders have teams quarterly implement quarterly volunteer events as part of their job, and became a force multiplier. It's a great way to send off your team cohesively to an event and get so much bang for the buck versus going and sending them to conferences. It yields different and better results for the team to be more cohesive. And that's what you're looking for. It can make it fun. You can make it empower the team to decide which four to do each year. So volunteering should be part of your makeup of your corporate social responsibilities, but part of your culture as an organization. You can read to the youth. Talk about reading. You can read to the youth as well as an opportunity to give back to your community, to give back to others in this sense. So there's so much ways to engage yourself, your team in the community. And the great dividends is for you to learn different circles and understand different professions out there. I think it's such a value. It hints to our passion as those that have served in the military and others that just serve volunteer, like nurses, first responders. So my hats off to all those that volunteer and help out because the community needs us.
Yes, and not only needs us, but they actually want to integrate those that want to give. You know, they are asking for the help. There's a lot of times that voice goes dim, you know, in the ears of the people. But volunteering does so much more for you than it does for them. And you do meet a need, but it really starts to work at your heart, your mentality, how you see things, how you perceive things. You get information that normally you wouldn't get in another forum by being there at the mix, doing things hands on. I was I was blessed. I was blessed during my career to be able to volunteer almost every year since the day I started serving. Um, and it resulted in accolades, right? There's a presidential uh, veteran or volunteer service award, and that award it comes from the White House, from the president, and I was fortunate to participate and achieve that. But it's not about awards; it's about the impact that we have on our community. If we want to be, if we want to see change, we got to be the change, right? So when we do that in our communities, we really bring value. We bring, you know, if it's a veterans bringing that, then the community can get exposed to what a veteran is. They hear about your stories and you educate them, and then you serve at the same time. But I love the fact that they brought up this particular selfless act, right? Which you would say, you know, oh, you're trying to focus on yourself. Well, by focusing on yourself, you have to focus on somebody else first, you know, so that, and you both feed each other. But it's great. And it expands your mind. It expands your mind, which is necessary if you want to be a good leader.
Oh, I, I cannot agree more with you there, Enrique. I mean, well, the next one really dives into that. You know, apply what you learn, right? Having a growth mindset, and this is to me is where the rubber hits meets the road. Because as we learn, either through a book or through a webinar, we learn, you know, linearly, but we grow in a circle. We grow with a community. We grow by applying what we learned, and that really puts us to the test because we can read all about how to be less stressed at work, but when we're stressed, we only grow by applying what we learn. So application is key here. And one thing that growth mindset does for us has many benefits to include greater comfort for taking professional and personal risk and striving to stretch yourself to those goals. That's a good thing about that growth mindset because failure sometimes leads to, not sometimes, most of the times leads to success. We talked about Thomas Edison with the light bulb, the failure until you get the boom. So, you know, it leads to that. You have to take risks. Higher motivation, lower stress, anxiety and depression, great working relationships, it betters them. Higher performance. It's totally a true testament of applying your learning to your growth. And it shifts from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Your day-to-day challenges are extremely overwhelming. And, and you should take personal control of your own emotions and guide others to do the same. That only happens with a growth mindset, which really combines emotional intelligence in there. And one key to learn, one learning aspect as you train yourself and learn is having mindfulness and meditation. A list of one of your trainings. Highly advise you to practice that. The power of breathing, keeping you in charge of your emotions, not your emotions in charge of you.
Most definitely. That's funny you bring that up because this week I've been hearing a lot of, well, let's face it, right? These times has drawn up out of that well that I mentioned has drawn up some emotions, some feelings that people have not ever experienced, have brought up not only feelings but thoughts that are counterproductive, because there could be times of depression, there could be times of fear, there is stuff that we have not dealt with in a block of time steady for like the last 6 7 months that we've all been in this thing, right? So um you know uh applying growth mindset, applying things that are going to help you, can combat those type of things. And and, and even more importantly, now more than ever, since we're almost secluded, almost some to 100%, um, it's really important for you to surround yourself with positivity, surround yourself with a mindset of growing people that think that way, that speak that way, for you to ensure that you're developing the way that you should, and you're not actually feeding something yourself, something that's going to make you kind of go backwards. And so it's so important to surround yourself with good stuff.
Hmm. Yes, and their last point was talking about surrounding yourselves. So, but you do surround yourself with positive individuals. That's the last key to talk about growth. Um, and I am saying here right now, I'm so thrilled to co-host a show with Enrique because I'm surrounding myself with positive influence and people like you, and that's what it takes, folks. Because I wouldn't be able to face it. I would not be able to do this alone, having this opportunity to grow and learn how to do a podcast if it wasn't for you, Enrique, because you elevate me to another level. So talk about it, surrounding yourself with positive influence. Plus the reason why we invite other leaders and other guests to our show, because we are surrounding ourselves, giving this to community of other perspectives of other leaders in our nation, and hopefully in the world, coming to be. But talk about surround yourself. One great folk told me back in the day, oh crusty chief mass sergeant, you know, stand or lean on shoulders of giants, or those you admire. You're gonna learn a lot, Don't be scared. Lean on their shoulders. Be on top of their shoulders, because they know what's out there. They've seen the mountaintop, and they hopefully want to. If you're willing, they'll admire you too to get you that to the next level. But while you do that, have a diverse circle as well. Not those folks that just look like you. Have a diverse pool of folks that are positive. Surround yourself. Not only has to be physically, you can do through electronic means. You can join online groups. Again, volunteer is another way of surrounding yourself in the community to create those relationships. And I'll add, the surrounding yourself can be admiring folks that are immersed in the books that you read. You can surround yourself by embodying them as well in those written words. But folks, always continue to grow and transform and find your circle.
Well, I tell you, I'm humbled by your comment there, and I'm as equally blessed and encouraged by you. So we mentioned this earlier, right? Iron sharpens iron, right? As iron sharpens iron, and you need to this. Our interaction through this podcast, through what we do in the community, through what we do through different veteran organizations, because we're both kind of in tandem in a lot of those. It is a proof. It's proof that when you surround yourself with like-minded people, people that are after success and positivity, not it'll gain success, but success through positivity. Um, it not only allows you to grow, but it also allows you to give, and so that's a blessing in itself. I'm so happy that this final question actually focuses on the you, because all of our other previous 7 questions, including the introduction, was about external influences on your leadership on your professional life. But this one actually focuses on you. And, you know, regardless of the other 7 ones having an impact or not, the one that has the most impact is this one. Because as I've said before, right, everything starts with you. And if you can't get yourself right, how are you going to end up getting other people right, trying to do the best they can? So you have to have something to give, and this is the way to do it.
Yeah, and I'll say those thoughts and those actions should be based on your values rather than your personal gain. And that's true leadership right there. And that exposes you of the values and your core, which is important. So this right here will supplement, augment you to be that better leader and be the better version of yourself. So I hope, you gain from this as much as we've gained through this experience, through our 8 questions. But we will not stop there. We have other things coming about, but we're definitely going to go nationwide and hopefully international. But right now, that concludes all our questions. I hope you enjoyed them. And as we meet every Wednesday morning, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you have any topics or questions as we concluded our questions of our survey, reach us at theleadershipvoid@gmail.com. We'll be more than happy to entertain them and bring them up to light and share from there.
And yeah, most assuredly, if you reach out to us, you want to hear something concerning leadership, please do reach out to us in an email. And if you're a company out there and you're listening, you're either local or nationally, and you want to be spotlighted or interviewed on our podcast, reach out to us. If you have any apparel, or we like to drink coffee, we like to drink as we do the show, but please send us your apparel. If you want to sponsor us, please do that so as well. Next week it's a great week. We go back to the interviews of people and organizations that are doing great things, not only here in Florida, but nationwide. And next week we have Camaraderie Foundation. How about that, Vince?
Oh, yeah. Talk about surrounding yourself with positive people, positive influencers. Yes. July 15th, Anna Tanzila from the Camaraderie Foundation, the development manager. And Camaraderie Foundation, for those who don't know, is their mission is to provide healing for the invisible wounds of war through counseling, emotional, and spiritual support for all branches of post 9/11 vet service members and their families. This is one you don't want to miss, folks. July 15th. More than happy. Stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay sharp. Thank you.